Ow. You muted yourself.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
You good?
Yep.
Okay. Morning. Take one of those. Make sure you sign the sign-in sheet. And then we'll get going. Again, those online, sorry for any echoing. I'll try to keep close so it doesn't echo so bad. I forgot what I needed for my microphone because we used this at the group meeting or the joint office meeting, and I left some stuff there. All right, we got a lot to cover today. So we're going to get right into it. Those that come in, they can sign in, grab a handout, and we'll get going. So the first thing I want to talk about, why do you need a business plan? Why do you think you need a business plan?
So you know what to shoot for.
Know what to shoot for. That's right.
On track.
Stay on track. So you have goals, you have a roadmap, you have a direction of where you want to go, right? I've been to a lot of different business planning courses, and a lot of them have you sit down and write a vision or a mission or something like that, right? We're not going to do that today. We're going to set up your goals. We're going to talk a lot about how to get to meet your goals. First, we're going to figure out where we're going and how we get there. So some things you need to think about is your why in business. Why you doing real estate? What's your long-term goal? Your 1-year goal, your 3-year goal, your 5-year goal? Don't worry, I'm not going to make you write your goals today. All right. So this is spread out over 3 different sessions because if I were to come in today and have you sit down and say, fill all this out, you don't know all this information today, right? So if you can take it home with you, please sign in and grab one of these folders. Everything is in these folders. Sign in. But you're not going to know all the information. So I'm going to cover a lot of stuff that you need to fill out. You'll have some homework. We'll bring it back next week whenever we meet at Jenny's office so we can continue. And then we're going to come back here and wrap it all up on the 3rd session. Okay? So today we're going to lay the groundwork for everything. What are some goals in your life? Like vacations. If you didn't have any limitations, where would you like to travel to? Ireland. There's one. Where else? Europe. Where else? Anywhere? Maybe a car you would like to own, right? Maybe you would like to buy a new house, buy a farm, buy a storage building, buy rental properties. How would that look to you? How would you feel about that? Right? You don't know how to get there unless you write the plan. I'm going to help you write that plan to put that vision together so that you can get there. A lot of times we're like, yeah, one day I want to do this. One day I want to do this. And we never get the one day years later, right? If you put the plan in place, and I'll show you how to work that plan over this course, then you'll hit that. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is going to be your financial goals. Now, I don't need you to sit here and write out, if you want to open up your folder and go to the first one, first page of business plan, you're going to fill that out and bring it back. First one is your personal expenses. You know, when I went to other business planning courses over the years, we would sit and everybody would write out their expenses. I'm very private with my expenses. I don't want people to know anything about my finances. Some people are just, they don't care. They'll just spread it out. So to respect everybody's individuality and how they are, this is going to be part of the homework, but I'm going to cover with you what you need to fill out, right? Because I wouldn't want my business to go out in front of everybody. I'm sure some of you are like that too. So we're not going to do that today. And also with time, because some of this you may not know off the top of your head. And I don't want you just to wing it, okay? You need to take this home and fill it out, and I'll cover what you need to fill out. So the first thing, your mortgage or rent, you'll fill out whatever the monthly is and whatever the annual is, right? We're going to calculate the totals at the done when you're done. Utilities, all your utilities, your groceries, your car payments. If your goal next year is to pay your car off, then on the right side where it says payoff, write that amount. Write out what the payoff is going to be, okay? I don't want you to care about the numbers. You're going to live like you're going to hit these goals. We're going to put a plan in place for you to hit these goals, right? But if you're like limiting yourself on, man, I owe 50 grand, I'm never going to cut that off. You're right. You're not. Not unless you set a vision, okay? and we'll get there. Make sure you're realistic about the payoff, how much gas you spend. If you don't know, go back through your credit card statements and think about what you spend a week, figure out per month, right? Calculate all this, fill it out. Your maintenance. You get, I'm sorry, I think somebody wants to come in real quick. Oh, that's cool. They can see this. As long as y'all have it in front of you. I just want them to be able to see what we're looking at. Maintenance. Again, you know how many times you get your oil changed a year. Go back and look at your records. Plan for this. Don't just leave the stuff out. Plan for it, right? Credit cards. Whatever your monthly payment is, right? What your annual payment is. Look, if you have a $300 a month credit card payment, y'all know that $280 of that's going towards interest. It's going to take you 40 years to pay that thing off if you keep doing it that way. So I would highly suggest that you put the payoff in, and that's one of your goals for next year is to pay off the debt, all right? Don't worry about the number. We'll worry about how to make a plan to hit that number. So put it in there. However many credit cards you have. If you pay for medical insurance, if you pay for private dental insurance, put it on there. Plan for it, okay? If you're going to get it, if you don't have it. If you have any education bills, like college courses, things like that, and you've taken a class and you still owe bills for that, right? You're making payments on it. Put it in there. If you plan on taking any type of college courses, put it in there, right? You got to have it in there. Make a list of everything. Savings. Savings, savings, savings. How many months should you have in savings as a reserve? 6, right? Minimum is 3, but at least 6. Well, at least 3. 6 is optimal, is what I'm going to say. But,
Karina is asking.
hello, Karina. Sorry, we'll let you in. I got to set this to where it lets in. Thank you for letting me know. So plan for that. Well, how do I plan for that? Well, that's where you go and add all your monthly up, figure out what your monthly is, multiply it by 3 or 6, and that's going to be your annual, right? You need to make sure you budget for that. Vacations. This is a good one. How many of y'all lay out your vacations for next year? Awesome. Y'all are doing great planning. You too. Awesome. Me too. I'm already doing it. I'm already figuring out when am I going to Jamaica? We go to Jamaica every year for like a week. We used to go to Montana for a couple weeks. Since her mom passed, we haven't been there. So anyway, but I'm sure we'll go back soon. She's got a lot of family out that way. But you need to plan for it. And then your next step is going to be to buy the tickets. This way you make sure you go. But we'll get to that piece. And when you plan, we'll talk about how to plan for that. And you're like, well, I don't know. So if I were to sit here and tell you, go ahead and write down a number for what you're going to take for your vacation trip, right? You don't know that because you need to probably talk to your family, your significant other, to figure out what vacations do we want to take next year? Where are we going to go? How much is going to cost? And they're going to say, no, I don't want to. You're going to get my hopes up for we're going to go on vacation and we're never going to go. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do it, right? No, because that's going to be your why to make sure you're coming in or you're working to hit that goal. So talk to them about it. Put the plan together because now you have their support, right? See how that works? But you have to lay the plan out. If you don't lay out a plan and you don't write it down, it's never going to happen. It's just not. That's your personal finances. So that means we have 2 accounts for our personal accounts, right? I know, I'm a tech guy and I should have all this stuff working nice and smooth. One day soon, I will. So that means we should have 2 accounts. Our savings account for reserves, right? And then our personal account for just paying bills or whatever else. Minimum 2 accounts. Simple? All right, let's go to business. Let's talk about business. So now you need to go through all your business expenses and write all that out. I'm going to show you what you're going to do in your personal in just a second. First thing is your license renewal. We know annual for the real estate commission is $45. I already wrote it in there for you, right? Easy. CE. If you have our provisional broker and you take your folks licensing courses, you need to put that in. It's about $200 a course. There's 3 of them. You want to get them done next year. That's $600. Your CEs are about $55 each. You need how many of those? 2, right? Mandatory and elective. If you have to do code of ethics this year, you need to add another one. Okay? Write it in, put it down. Education and development courses, like if you're going to take Ninja, that's $550. Put it on there. You see what I'm saying? You need to plan for this. We're going to put it on the calendar, but we need to plan for how much it costs. MLS dues, we know our monthly is $45 a month. But put in your annual, your renewal. How much does it cost to renew everything? Anybody know? Like $600 to renew between your MLS, Central Law, and Berkeley Bank. It's about $600. Put that in there. Office expenses. How much do you pay for your office space? $0. That's cool. Don't worry about that, do we? If you have an offsite and you're paying something somewhere else, you can put that in here. Okay. The next thing is technology fee. Well, we have a $300 annual technology fee. We all know that. That's why it's there. Color copies. How many copies do you print? How many color do you print? You may come back to that after you figure out your marketing plan, and we're going to talk about that. Okay. Computer. Do you plan on buying a new computer next year? Do you need a new computer? You need to plan for it. How much does it cost? I don't know. Go and see, figure out which one you want. You can get one for $300, just a simple Asus or whatever, or you can get a Microsoft tablet that's like $2,000, or you can get a MacBook that's even more, right? So figure it out, put it on your plan. Yeah, these numbers are adding up, right? We have some pretty big numbers here. I don't want you to worry about that. You're like, well, I'm the one that's going to pay it all. I get it. I understand that. But I'm going to help you put a plan together to where you can pay it all. Okay? I don't want you to feel limitless. I don't want you to sit there and say, I have limits. I want you to be limitless. I don't want you to sit there and think of, I'll never afford this. Now, if you come back and say, I got out here to buy a beach house, I got here to buy a Maserati. Okay, folks, that's cool. That may be more of a 3-year goal. Let's get a credit card payment off. You know what I mean? Let's get some money in savings and reserves. You see what I'm saying? If you have that and that's your goal, awesome. I'm trying to get you financially solvent to where even if the market crashes or something like that, you have reserves. You don't have to stress so bad. How would it feel to not have to worry about it? To have money in savings, and if you don't have a closing next month, I'm not so worried about it. I can still go to McDonald's or you can Starbucks or whatever, right? Still do my marketing, still work my plan. That's why you have the reserves. Any other office expenses? Next is payroll. Okay, if you have an admin or somebody, you need to put it on there. Pay yourself. This is where you put your personal total. All your personal finances, that's where you're going to put your total. Right? Because your business is paying for that. How you pay that is up to you. Some of you just throw it all in one account. You just pay from that and do whatever. That's probably what most of y'all do, right? What most folks do. I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to suggest that you set up a couple more accounts. You have your personal, your savings, right? And your operating, which is your checkbook account. That's for personal. For business, I'm going to suggest you set up 3 other accounts. Okay? One is your operating. That's to pay on your bills. That's what your commission check should be going into. Okay? Second is your savings. That's where you set up reserves. Anybody guess what the third is? IRS. Taxes. So you're taking a portion out of every check and you're putting it there. So at the end of the year, you don't have this big bill to pay. You've saved for it. See what I mean? How would it feel to go do your taxes? I'll tell you a personal story. I got into real estate in 2008, 2009. A year into real estate, I got separated. And then almost get divorced a year later. So when I got divorced, I was 2 years into real estate. Well, my first year in real estate, I was saving to pay taxes, right? I set my accounts up where I could save. I go to sit down with the accountant, and when I was sitting with the accountant, they said, well, if we take all those deductions, you only have to pay this amount. But if you don't take all the deductions, you're going to pay a higher amount. Well, my ex, at the time, she was like, yeah, we're going to pay the less. And I said, no, I want to pay this. Why did I do that? Anybody know?
Because it makes you look like you didn't make anything.
If I pay the less, my taxable income is less. Because they're going to put more write-offs for me, right? I'm not saying you don't want write-offs, but as a self-employed person, when you go to finance anything like a house, how many years of tax returns do you need?
2,
2 years, right? And what do they look at?
how much money you make?
How much money you make. So if I would have had a low income, I wouldn't have been qualified to buy my house. A week after I got divorced, I closed on my house. Wouldn't have been able to do that I bought because I had to write during the divorce, right? I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wouldn't have paid that and I wouldn't have saved. Okay? Thinking long term, and that's the whole reason I said no, I'm paying it. It was several $1,000s, but this is what happens. It's just part of, fortunately, the government. I'm not going to go to the government. We'll be here all day with that. But yeah. So again, this is where you pay yourself. Okay. Some of you have other incomes. If you have another income, right? When you fill out personal, you're going to figure out what your business wants to pay for, how you're going to transition that. I know some of you are retiring. And you have retirement pay, it's going to pay most of your bills, but you want that just to be fund money, reserve money, investment money, whatever. You got to figure that out, okay? Or other, maybe you have a spouse or something who's paying for your bills. That's great. What portion of your personal bills are you gonna handle with your business? And are you paying for the vacations, or is your spouse? Where is that money coming from? See how that personal comes into the business side, right? Does that make sense? So that's where you put in for paying yourself. That's the total coming from personal. Make sense? All right. The next thing is cell phone. If you're not writing your cell phone off on your taxes, shame on you. Why? Because you use it for your business. Right? I'll give you a little tip here in just a second. If you pay for any apps or any systems, Landglide. Anybody have Landglide? It costs $100 a year, and that's stuff when you're driving down the road, you can find out who the homeowners are, and it just kind of goes with you, and it's a pretty cool app. It's called Landglide. It's $100 a year. The $100 a year gets you to where you can have, like, if you go to other states and you can pull it up. We went to Disney over the summer, and I'm sitting at the Airbnb trying to see who owns all the properties, and everything in that community was owned by, we're not owner occupied. And these are like 4,000 square foot homes with pools, and they were all rental properties. They were all Airbnbs. I think there was 3 in the whole community because I went through them all and look at them. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool to know, right? Real estate, that's what we do. And we're kind of curious when we see this stuff. Well, Landglide will help you do that. If you pay for the state version, the local version, it's like, I think, $30 a year. I just do the national because we travel. Everybody loves to, everybody loves to travel,
Yes.
right? Do you look at real estate when you travel?
Yes.
Probably do. I do. I love it. Landglide. Landglide. You can use RPR as well. It's another thing. And it's free. It gives you the stats. It's just you have to the map is a little bit clunky. It's hard. Landglide will actually just have your GPS, and as you're driving, it'll just start showing the property owners. And you tap on it, and it'll tell you if it's an owner occupied or not. And it has a link to take you to the tax record. That's pretty cool. But if you have any other apps that you pay for, you need to put them there. Make sense? Marketing. Marketing. So when you do your taxes, you need to have as much under marketing as you possibly can for your expenses. Do you do any marketing on your cell phone? Yeah, you sure do, right? Don't you call people and say, I got this house that's up for sale, you're interested by? Hey, neighbor in the street, is their house on the market? We're doing an open house. We'd like you to come by. Are you marketing? Yeah. Okay. Everything in marketing is 100% tax write-off. What I mean by a write-off, because everybody talks about tax write-offs, and no one really explains what that is, right? What a write-off is if I made $100,000 this year, and I spent $5,000 on marketing, I only made $95,000 this year. That's what I mean by write-off, which means I'm not going to be taxed on it $5,000. Other things here are write-offs, but they're not 100% like marketing. Okay, marketing is 100% write-off. So don't be afraid to have numbers in here and budget to do things because it's a tax write-off. Pretty cool, huh? At least you're not something you don't pay taxes on. Everybody online, can you hear me okay? Stephanie, give me a thumbs up. Good? Okay. Just checking. So, marketing, print. Are you doing any type of mail out postcards? You know how Seacoast has where you can have them in postcards and mail it out. If you're doing that, how much are you spending on it? How much do you plan to spend on it next year? It's like, hey, I want to try and do this. Okay. How much is it? Call them and find out. Put it in there. Put it for the plan. I want to do it 6 times a year. It's $500 each. It's $3 grand. $3 grand it is. Don't worry about the number. Okay. Now, I tell you not to worry about the number, but if you put 3 million there, yeah, you probably need to worry about the number. Unless you're really, really, really doing good. Just saying. I'm telling you to kind of not have limits, but I'm also telling you to be realistic. Okay. But I don't want you to hold back. And what I mean by that is set it as like, if I wanted to do this, if I wanted to go on 3 vacations next year, how does that look? How long would that be? Somebody else.
No, I think it's Christy keeps raising her hand. I think she has a question.
Hold on. Christy, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I am. The
Go ahead.
presentation on the handout is still on page 1. Am I the only one that has that? It's not going through the pages.
Here we go.
Thank you.
He put it in the messages. If you just click it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the handouts are also in messages. You can just click and download and follow along. But thank you. I forgot.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. I appreciate it. Good morning, everyone.
All right. So for marketing, what social media are you going to do? You're going to do both boosts. How many boosts? How much are you going to spend? Right? So what I mean by boost is, Social Bag, this free tool that we have. You can take the home evaluation link, and in Social Bag, you can actually pay to boost it or post to social media for you. Megan Santana here in the office did it as soon as we learned about the program. Within the first day, she already had a listing lead. It works, right? But figure out how much you want to spend, how much you want to spend a week, a month, whatever, right? Put it in your budget, okay? I'm not telling you tomorrow you're going to start spending this. Remember, this is 2025. How long does it take for a buyer to close?
30 days.
30 days. How long is it going to take you to implement this plan? Probably 30 days. So by the time we get done by the end of October, we have the holidays, you're going to start implementing your plan so that January 1, you're running because you need to start implementing it now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that whenever you hit January, you're closing and you're hitting your goals.
Yeah.
Okay? With the holidays, November, December is kind of like 1 month because you just spend a lot of time family, a lot of off time. But if you put the work in November and December, when you hit January, you'll have closings to hit the year running. Okay? And that's what we're talking about, like the media boost. Do you pay for a website? If you pay for your own website, you'll put it here. If you're using Seacoast, you don't. It's free. But we got to make sure we're accounting for everything, right? Do you pay for a CRM, like Follow Up Box? Maybe you pay for Boomtown. Do the office, it's $25 a month, right? If you have anything like that, you pay for. If you pay for Market Leader website, or if you pay for Real Geeks or some other big website, you need to put them in here, okay? Figure out your annual costs, right? Mailers, are you going to mail things out to communities? Figure out your postage. See what I'm saying? Now, if we came in today and I said, let's fill this out now, would you be able to do that today? No. Who can do that right now? Unless you did it last year, then you have a good idea. But most of you, anybody who's done this last year? Anybody have a plan like this last year? Did you follow the plan?
Well, it wasn't a full plan, it was more the cost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to put a full plan together so it all comes together. Yeah. Events. Are you going to have a client appreciation day? Maybe you're going to do pies at Christmas. Maybe you're going to do pictures with Santa. Maybe you're going to do a post and Easter egg hunt somewhere. Right? It's a ton of events. Figure out what you're going to do. If you look at the against the last page, if you're not sure what you're going to do for marketing or lead gen, look, I just gave you 105 different ways. Okay? We'll talk about that in a minute, but I gave you a list that you can go through and figure out if there's anything on there. I know it's a little blurry, but you can still read it. So figure out what you're going to do for marketing. We're going to come back to lead sources in a minute. Donations. Are you going to donate to any charities? You need to write it in there. If your car, here's another tip. If you don't have a business set up, meaning an S Corp or an LLC, strongly suggest you do it. And here's why. So, how many of y'all use a car for your business? Everybody?
Yes.
All right. So if you use your car for your business and you're paying for it out of your business account, when you go to get pre-approved for a loan, does that debt count against you as debt to income for your monthly payment? Does anybody know the answer to that?
You're paying out of your business account.
Doesn't have to be in your business account. It doesn't have to be purchased out of your business account. It doesn't even have to be in your business name. How's it being paid is what the lender looks at. If you can show that it's being paid from your business account, it does not count against your debt to income. How do I know that? Because I've done it. I've done it. It works. When you go to get pre-approved and they see that car payment on your name, no, my business pays for that. Can you prove that? Yes. Let me show you my business account deductions. It's in my business name. So the class I did on business fundamentals, you see how that comes together, right? By setting your business up right for you for financial future and everything else. Huge, right? Isn't that cool? So you need to make sure you put, if you're going to pay for it out of your business, here's your folder, handout, send me a sign-in sheet right there, please. Make sure you put that under your business if you plan to pay for it out of your business. So don't just go and say, okay, Al, I've got my 2 accounts. Now I'm going to set up my other 3 accounts. Okay, I should just be able to show that it's coming out of that. You might be able to. But that'll probably work in a lender's eyes that all your deposits are going into that account, right? For your real estate commissions. All your real estate bills are coming out of that account. That's separate from your financials. But I'm going to tell you, you probably need to set up a company, an LLC or an S Corp. If you need help with that, come see me. I'll talk to you more about that and how that looks, okay? Make sense? Everybody have questions? You see why it's important to set up your financial plan? To be able to go do things and buy things? Pretty cool. If you have, who in here has a credit card? This is how I know you're sleeping, because I know everybody in here probably has a credit card. How many of you have more than one credit card? How many have a credit card for personal and for business? Thank you. That's awesome. If you don't, you need to set one up. You need to, and I don't mean go get another one. If you have more than one credit card, right? This is my personal, this is my business. Personal credit card, business credit card. So something comes due. You go to a seminar for real estate and they have all these cool little things set up. You're like, oh, that's so shiny. I've got to buy it for my business. It looks so cool. It'll look great hanging from the side right? It comes on your business credit card, not personal. Now you're separating your expenses. Okay? Who has ever heard of commingling funds in real estate? So you're not going to go to real estate jail for commingling your own funds, but that's what you're doing. You're commingling if you're running everything out of one account and you're paying all your expenses for real estate out of that one account. You're commingling your personal and your business funds. Just telling you.
That makes tax sense.
Absolutely. I'm getting there. So if you have a business credit card, right? Don't you have a list of all the transactions? If you have a business account, don't you have a list of all your income and your bills you pay? At very least, you could just go off of that, even your gas. You can put on the credit card for points. I'm going to tell you to do a debit card because I don't like putting shit on credit cards. Okay? But then you can track all that very easily. Very, very easily. What else can you write off for your automotive, for your car?
Oil change.
That's maintenance. That's on there. Go to business finance. Taxes. That's going to be the other thing. Insurance. So mileage and that kind of thing is really going to depend on how you file your taxes. What I mean by that, how long do you think you keep your car before you trade it in? 4 years, 3 years? I was putting 40,000 miles on a vehicle. I would have to trade every 2 years. Talk to my accountant about it. And you can do depreciation and depreciate it over several years. Or you could do a one-time write-off. Right? Again, talk to your accountant about this. But if I buy another vehicle this year, when I file my taxes for this year, I can take a write-off. Remember we talked about write-offs? So I called my accountant and I said, look, I'm $12,000 upside down. If I take a write-off on this vehicle, how much of a write-off can I take? 20 grand. Well, that math works for me, right? I'll pay whatever extra, I'll finance it for whatever.
T.
Oh,
T.
thank you. Welcome aboard, T. So if I can buy a vehicle and then I could go ahead and do a tax write-off because I know I'm not going to have it long enough to do depreciation. So I'll just do a one-time write-off. I don't have to worry about tracking mileage and all the other crap. I'm just doing a one-time write-off.
Does that count if you have like an S corp or LLC?
Yep.
You have to have an S corp or LLC?
Nope.
Perfect.
Up to your accountant. So a lot of people this time of year, they go real estate agents, you see the first of the year, they got all these new vehicles. Why do you think that is, right? Have you seen that? Like agents that have been around for a long time, right? That have sold a lot. And they drive around the first of the year with a new vehicle. Why do you think that is? They're using their brains, right? They're letting their money work for them. Do a tax write-offs. Talk to your accountant, okay? Credit cards. So if you got your credit card, you should be paying it off. If you have a balance, again, put that payoff there. And then we go back to, what is that? Reserves, right? So the reserves, how many months of reserves should we have for our business account? 6. Minimum of 3, but at least 6. So how many accounts do we have set up right now? 3 for business, 2 for personal. Holy shit, Al, that's a lot of accounts. You're right. Welcome to being an entrepreneur, right? And running your own business. I'm trying to help you set up the structure. You know, y'all been to my classes. I think most of you have been to other classes. And what I talk about a lot, long term, setting up a good foundation, right? Having systems in place. If you set all this up, as you grow and you get bigger, build a team or whatever, even for taxes, right? You're set up. It's all set up. It makes it so easier. When you go to your accountant and you're trying to do write-offs, and they're like, what do you want to write off? I don't know. What can I write off? Well, marketing. I don't know what to do for marketing. By the way, I'm going to give you tools for that on day 3. What? Yes, I am. How many of y'all know how to read a P&L? Even know what a P&L is? Profit and loss statement. Do y'all have one for your business? Awesome, awesome, awesome. If you do, if you don't, it's no big deal, right? Strongly suggest you have one. QuickBooks has a simple one you can get. It's pretty inexpensive. I actually have a Google sheet that you can go and just put it in. It actually does it, and it prints out a thing for your accountant. Yeah, I told you I'm a geek like that. Anyway, questions about filling out your expenses. Okay, you got a lot of homework already, right? See how we're spreading it out into 3 weeks so that you can actually get realistic goals and understand. Now let's have some fun. Pull out your calendars. The first thing you're going to pull out is going to be your annual calendar. I'm going to switch to y'all here online just a second so you can see it. Share. Is it something else? And you're going to pull out your annual calendar. Y'all should see that on your screen. T, how are you doing down in Florida? Are you good? Are you still down there?
There was one branch by the front door. Good to
T
go.
went to Florida just to chase the storm. He's a nut.
Gotta live life on the edge.
You what?
I said, gotta live life dangerously on the edge, you know?
I hear you. All right, so you pull out your calendar. The first thing we're gonna do is you're gonna go through and X out all your holidays. You're gonna plan what you're gonna do next year. Put on a plan, how we're gonna do it, work it, right? So go through and X out all your holidays. What's the first holiday? New Year's Day. Put an X over it. Pull out your annual calendar, just put an X over that. Are you going to take off Martin Luther King Day? If you're going to take it off, put an X over it. You're not going to work that day. Any of these days you're not going to work, put an X over it, okay? Go through the whole year. President's Day, are you going to work that day? Put an X over it, right? Fill it out now. If you don't do it now, you're not going to do it, so fill this out now. April 18th is Good Friday. April 20th is Easter. Yep. The other monthly handout that I gave you, as you scroll through it, you're going to see it already has the holidays on it. Are you going to take those days off? If you are, X them out on your annual calendar. How about May 26th, Memorial Day? Are you taking that day off?
Yeah, buddy, that's my birthday.
Yeah, buddy.
My birthday's today.
If you're taking off the whole weekend, you need to check off Saturday and Sunday as well. If you're planning on a long weekend somewhere, okay? Juneteenth, June 19th, are you taking that day off?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. July 4th, are you taking that day off? That's on a Friday. Do you think you're going to be able to work Saturday? Probably not. You need to check that off too. If you like your spirits, you like the sippy sip.
Don't look at me. I haven't socialized in a while.
That's why I said that, because you're going to get socialized. You're going to be like,
Yeah.
September 1st, Labor Day. Are you taking that day off? Right? Check them all off. October 25th. The handouts are in the text box that you can download all the handouts. Okay. Columbus Day, October 13th. Veterans Day, November 11th. Thanksgiving. Are you taking Thanksgiving off? Absolutely. Do we have any Good Friday shoppers in here?
Yes.
Then you're taking that day off,
Love this.
right?
And the next day.
And the next day, because you got to recover from eating all that turkey. How about Christmas?
Yes.
Absolutely. Probably the day before and the day after. I'm going to go one step further. If you don't, who in here has real estate as their full-time job?
All right.
Full-time. All you do is real estate. Or majority of what you do is real estate. I'm going to tell you that you need to check off Sundays as well. Every Sunday of every week. If you don't want to take Sunday, then take Saturday. You need to take off one day a week. For what?
Family.
Family. You're damn right. Absolutely.
I don't really do Saturdays.
Then Saturdays. I don't care if it's a Saturday or Sunday, but you need to take one plan to take one day off a week at least to spend with your family.
Self-care.
That's right. If you're not taking time to spend with your family, it's going to take a toll. Right? It's just going to take a huge toll. You've got to plan for that. What else do you want to plan for?
Birthdays.
If you take off birthdays, take off your wedding anniversaries,
Days off. for Schedule.
days off for school. How about if you have kids that do traveling sports?
Yeah.
When's that going to be? You need to put it on your calendar. If you don't know when, try to get an idea of when that is. What else are we going to plan for? You haven't even got to the fun part.
Vacation.
Vacations. How many vacations do you want to take next year?
All of them.
That's what I'm talking about. It
Once a month.
works.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take a weekend, put it on your calendar. Look, if that's what he wants to do, that'll work.
Yeah.
Some people do that. Right? But you need to put it. I want to go to Disney this year. When are you going to go? Look, they still tell you not to go in July and August because it's really, really hot. I went this
In
year
the
in
middle of the
August.
hurricane.
Yeah, or in the middle of a hurricane, but that's just tea. So I went this past year in August, and the humidity here is worse. The sun there is worse. If you're in the sun, it's hotter, right? The humidity on a hot day here is much worse. It's like, breathing water is just like so thick. It's not thick down there, but that sun beating on you is hot. But still, if you want to go, maybe do it in June so it's not so hot. But plan it. How long do you want to go? How many days? You need to exit out. What other trips do you want to do? Well, I'd love to go to see my family in California. Okay, when do you want to go? Well, I'd love to go for Christmas. So how many days do you want to go? It'd be cool if I could spend a week. Cross it off. Okay? Cross it off. If you have kids, you're working around your kids' work school schedules. And maybe you take a long weekend, or maybe spring break, you want to go somewhere for spring break with your kids. Cross it off, right? Put it on your calendar. After you get everything on your calendar, all the days that you're going to take off, I will tell you that you're probably going to want to use this to write in specifics. Okay? Those of you online, I'm going to share to the other presentation, handout. Hold on a minute, it's coming up. It'll come up in a second and I'll scroll to it. But on this calendar, you're going to go to like June 20th. I want to go to California for the week. And you're going to write that out, right? That is when you want to go. You want to make sure that you are going on that day and that you have it written down in your calendar. This calendar here. You want to write it out on the calendar of when you're going to do it. You'll exit out on the annual calendar, right? And then write in the specifics on this one. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now we have our plan for next year. We have how much we're going to spend, right? We have when we're going to work. Because if we don't have an X off here, what are we doing on that day?
Working.
We're working. We're working. And we're going to talk about how that day looks on day 3. Okay, next week, we're going to start putting it a little bit more together. Here to set your goals and that kind of thing. We're going to break it down to how many transactions you need to hit the dollar figure, right? And we're going to write out some goals. We're going to do some other fun stuff. That's at the Henderson office next week. But you got to fill the stuff out, okay? So if you go to the next page on the handout, which is your homework. Who in here loves homework? See, raise your hand. I know you love homework. This is going to be good for you. Again, most business planning classes you go to, right? They want you to fill this out right now and set your goals. I don't think that's right. You need to take the time to really put thought into it and do it right, okay? Fill it out. But don't fill it out with reservations. Fill it out like, yes, I want to take a weekend off a month. I want to take 12 vacations. But when you figure that out, vacations, maybe it's a trip to go visit colleges. You got a kid get ready to go to college. You need to go tour those, right? You need to put that on your plan. You need to figure out how much it's going to cost. This is going to be gas. This is going to be hotels. This is going to be food, okay? Write it out. Who's paying for it? You are. How are you paying for it? Real estate sales. If you don't account for it, where's the money going to come from? Now you're tapping into your savings and your reserves. You got to plan for it. So your homework, first thing, write out your calendar, vacations, check off Sundays. If you have another job that you work, right? Let's say you work 3 days a week doing something else. Then those days, you're probably going to do like a half check because you know you're working a half a day in real estate. Does that make sense? But you need to account for that. Any other type of job, you know you're working a half a day somewhere else or a portion of the day, even if it's all day. Look, if you have a full-time job doing something else and you're trying to transition to real estate, guess what you're doing when you get home from your other job? You're going to do lead gen. You're going to work, right? So that you can transition. If you think it's just going to happen, it's not just going to happen without you putting in the work. You can have a very, very good life in real estate if you put in the work. And I'm trying to help you build the roadmap. Okay? So write all this out. If you're taking a girls' trip, anybody gonna take girls' trips, guys' trips? You go somewhere for a weekend, put it on the damn calendar.
Girls trip.
Okay, without T. Kids sports events, holidays, days you plan to take off, other days off, tour colleges. And then remember, if it's not on your schedule, it doesn't exist. Are there things that come up? Yes, they are. All of a sudden now we're going to take some time off for maybe we got to go visit family because they're ill. Okay? That just knows that when we come back, we're going to work twice as hard. Right? That's how that works. We got to get back and work on our plan. And we'll show you how to work that plan. Broke it down to weekly, daily, monthly. Because it's kind of hard to say, right, next year I'm going to take 3 vacations and I got to make $300,000 to pay for everything. I got to pay off the credit card. I pay off the car. How am I going to get there? How do you know if it? One bite at a time. How do you succeed in real estate? One day at a time. Right? If you don't have a direction to go, you're floundering. Your sales are up and down. You come knocking. Al, I don't have any sales. What do I do? What do I do, Al? And what I'm going to tell you? No, I'm going to say, what are you doing? What kind of business are you doing? What are you doing in business? Come on, sit down. Let's talk. Let's put a plan together to get you there. Some of you are already doing some coaching with me. That's awesome. If others don't, come see me. We'll set it up. Okay? After you put everything on your calendar, calculate what each vacation trip costs and add it to your personal expenses. Unless it's a business trip, go back to your personal worksheet, expense worksheet, and write it in. Okay? Make sure you account for everything. 3, determine what lead generating sources you will use, you will use, and what each will cost. And you're going to add that to your business budget. Remember, under marketing, where we're going to put our lead sources and what because those usually cost money to generate business marketing expense. Right? For lead generating, we're paying for it. We're paying to get business. So we are marketing. It's a marketing expense. See how that works? Right? That should be under marketing. That's why I have 10 things there. Now, how many do you really need in real estate to be successful? How many lead sources? 3 to 5. I know I've said it before. I'm glad y'all pay attention. 3 to 5, right? But if I have databases by 1, because it should be, I may be doing 5 activities for my database, and some of them cost money. That's why I have 10. See, does that make sense? Because I may be writing cards. I may have an event, time appreciation. I may do, pictures with Santa. All that has a dollar figure. I need to put that in there. Make sense? So, database for sale by owners, driving for dollars, Facebook boosts, referrals, cold calling, pump buys, client party, online referrals, social media, and the whole list I gave you. Go through and figure out which ones you want to do and what the cost is going to be. And then write in here, what's my source 1? What's my source 2? I have 5 here because it's 3 to 5. Now, if you come back and just say database, Facebook boosts, okay, that's cool. Just know we're going to break that down even in deeper chunks later. So if you just say database, which you should be for your source 1 should be database, right? But on your goal, when you do your goal sheet and it says grow database, you're going to explain how you're going to grow your database. I'm going to write 5 handwritten cards a day, 5 a week, whatever. I'm going to mail out birthday cards. I'm going to go to these events so I can grow my database. You see what I mean? For our goals, to hit that. Does that make sense? Those of you done real estate for a while, if you haven't and you don't have a lot of sales, the step 4 you probably won't do. We'll do it in class. If you have sales and you know this number, you need to put it in. What I'm talking about is your conversion rates. What do I mean by conversion rates? Who in here has a source that they do consistently for generating business? Anybody? Something that they do. They pay for or they do consistently. What's that?
Google Business.
I'm talking more intent, like I call people every day. I do or not.
Handwritten letters.
Okay, so handwritten letters. How many handwritten letters do you write a week? How many out of those 10? So that's 40 a month, right? Each month, out of 40 handwritten letters, how many transactions do you get out of that?
2 or 3.
Okay, so your conversion ratio is 40/3. You know what I mean? So for every 40 you write, you get 3. Does that make sense? That's what I mean by conversion ratio. So I know that I put this amount into it, I'm gonna get this back. Like another example I have here. I call 14 people before I get 1 listing appointment. Okay? If you need the next one, I get, for every 1 listing appointment I have, I get 1 listing for every 3 listing appointments that I go on. So that 14 just went to what? 3 times 14, 42. See what I'm saying? So that means I've got to call 42 people before I get 1 listing. That's what I mean by conversion ratio. We'll talk more about that next week. But if you don't know it, don't worry about it. We're going to talk about your lead sources that you're doing, and we'll break that down. Okay? That'll break down to, I'm sending out 10 cards. Okay? How many listings did you get left? See what I'm saying? And then we can convert that over easily. But you got to put the data in as far as how much, how many transactions you've done last year, that thing. And that's at the bottom. So after you've done all this, on number 5, I don't want to see your finances when you come back. You can keep this. I put this all in a little yellow folder so that you can put it in your desk and be able to pull it back out. So it's all organized in one spot, right? Because you're going to keep referring to it each year, and you're going to add, or each month, each week, actually. And next week, bring it with you, and we're going to add things to it, right? But now you have your business plan in a folder. You actually have a plan that you can pull out, look at, work. You're not going to look at everything every day, but there are going to be pieces that you look at every day, and we'll talk about that next week. So what I want to see here is the total financial dollar, and that's on the business. It's how much you want to make. Now, if you come back and you have $10,000 in here, bullshit. You're not running a business. You're just doing a hobby. Just being real about it. Because that means you're not paying anything with personal finances, and you're not doing any marketing. You're not counting for any personal expenses as far, or even business expenses between cell phone, car, gas, maintenance. Make sense? Don't worry about how big that number is. I hope it comes back at least 100,000. Should be more. You're like, holy shit, Al, I've never made that much money. Oh, cool. You're about to. You're about to. It's real. You can actually get it. Live a very, very good life, right? Work when you want, who you want, make what you want. And I'm even going to show you how you can tell what you're going to make. That's on week 3. Yeah, I know. I'm teasing you so that you come back, because everybody goes away and they're like, I got all this and I can't show up. You got to come back. So write the big number there. Last, number 6. If you have sales in 2024, I need you to write how many listings you sold in 2024, how many buy sides you sold, and what your average prices were. Okay? Because we're going to need that when we start doing your conversions to figure out what you actually make. If you don't have that number, don't worry about it. We're going to figure it out for you. Okay? Pretty easy. The main thing I need is that financial goal and your lead sources. The rest of it, I can help you figure out. I'm not going to dig into your finances. I don't want to know. I don't care to know. I don't care how bad of bills you have. Trust me, somebody else in this room has more. Guaranteed you. And it may not be more, but to them it's more. Make sense? It's a lot. The struggle's real. We all have bills. It's just part of living, you know. How we pay for it, now it's our choice. It's our business. I'm trying to help you set the plan up. Make sense?
Yes.
Questions about today? Yes.
When you, I know it's week 3, but I'm just curious. When we do your projections on how much you're going to make, how close do you come to that? Normally, your actual.
Let me ask you that in a different way. One of the things you're going to do next week is like a vision board. If you don't want, it's like the last piece of next week. You don't have to, but it's really cool that you have something that you can look at every day. Subliminal images are huge, right? Years ago, I did that. I did business plans. And I would do vision boards. It was stuck in my head. Well, then I stopped doing vision boards, but obviously that sticks in your head. Years later, I stopped for a minute and I started thinking about vision boards, and I was like, okay, the last time I did one was whatever. And I started remembering what I had on it. One of them was to have investment properties. By the way, if you want to have rental properties, you need to put that in your budget. One was to have investment properties. One was to have a nice home, nice vehicles, all that. I checked all those boxes. It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So even if you hit your goal, let's say you set your goal at 500,000, and let's say you hit it at 400,000. Is that still better than you've done in the past several years?
Mhm.
But let's say you do hit 600,000. How would that look for you?
Good,
How would that feel?
great.
How many times have I hit it? I haven't hit it all the time. But I made a lot more than I would have if I didn't have a plan.
That's the important thing.
That's the important thing. The goal you don't hit is the one you don't make. The shot you don't make is a shot you don't take. Right? So we're going to set the goals, and there's going to be some other accountability things that we're going to have to help everybody. But, and Jenny is actually going to be taking care of a lot of it next week I'll be over there as well. We're going to have it at Jenny's office for the second phase. We're going to talk about goal planning. We're talking about conversions and how it looks, so you know how many transactions you need to do. Because we need to know what we're going to do before we set our goals, right? But to set our goals, we got to know how much we're going to make or how much we need to make, right? Some of you may be on the verge of just being like, you know what, real estate's not my thing. I don't know, I may have to get a full-time job. Shit, right? Crossed my mind over the years. But I'm like, so I'm going to go work somewhere, and I'm not even working here. They're just going to require me to be there. That's what your calendar is doing right now. Because if you go get a job, don't they give you a schedule for what you're going to work? It may not be for the year, but you know what you're working next week, next month. Who's the boss of your business?
We are.
Come on. Who's the boss of your business?
Yeah.
You guys are still weak, but hopefully we'll get you there. So if you set your own schedule and you work your own schedule under your own terms, there's no reason, right? Because we're going to give you the tools. I'm going to show you how to do it. The reason you won't hit those financial goals. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Other questions? Are y'all going to do your homework?
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody? Yes? Yes? Okay. And y'all going to be there next week? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Even those of you online, right? Y'all going to do your homework? Yes? I need for y'all to tell me yes. So here,
I'm
head
going to
shake it.
Staples to print my
Yes.
stuff after we're done.
Yes, sir.
Christy, Karina,
Yes, sir.
thank
I don't know how
you.
to.
No,
Yeah, well, we'll talk when you get back. All right, folks, that's all I got for today. Appreciate you coming out. Have any questions? Good. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for participating online.
You're getting good with Google Meet.